The house I'm touring this week hasn't been anyone's home since 1958. But while Portland's Pittock mansion might seem spooky at first glance, a closer look reveals a sophisticated elegance and a rich history deserving of preservation. Paula, so great to see you.
Wonderful to see you too. Welcome to Pittock Mansion.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
This place is stunning.
It is indeed. And for being a 110-year-old building, I think it still looks pretty awesome.
It does. You guys have done a great job with it.
Thank you.
Let's take a look. Oh, beautiful door.
It's a gorgeous door, wrought iron. And this would have been the original entry, to the house. We also have a side entry, but yes, here it is. Circular hallways and, just grandeur. 16,000 square feet, 4,000 on each floor. Wow. Sits on 46 acres of property at 1,000 feet. It took them $190,000 to around $350,000 to build it. Took 5 years. But Henry Pittock was very particular about, the finest quality. It's really a fine example of like a modern home, which has like an eclectic mix of classical design and some cultural, patterns, and then technology. Many technological, features from that time.
This was like a smart home from 1914.
Absolutely, yes.
Let's take a look. Wow, that is stunning, right?
It is. This is the wow effect. We get a lot of international visitors, who come here for the first time, and they are just awestruck. This is one of the most popular spots for photographs. From an architectural point of view, of course, it's a beautiful circular grand staircase. Mm-hmm. You see a lot of brass here. I read somewhere that there are like 400 individual, molds pieces. And the wood is eucalyptus. Mm-hmm. You also see the beautiful chandelier, which is also a brass chandelier. Yeah. Henry Pittock was very particular about using local materials, local craftsmen, but there are only 2 items that are not from, the Portland area. One is the marble that came from California. Yep. And the door frames were from Italy.
Beautiful.
So besides those, everything else was like local. We try to keep it as beautiful as we can because, again, this is the grand entry.
Man, this is a special masterpiece here.
Absolutely. Yeah. We are in the library, which is set in the Jacobean style. You see a lot of oak.
I absolutely love the figure of the white oak in here. It is so beautiful and adds so much character and warmth to this space.
It does.
So gorgeous.
The recessed lighting that you see, again, was a technological innovation at that time. And to make sure that it's fireproof, the cornices that you see on top were actually plaster, but they are painted like wood, to give that appearance. But it's a fire retardant.
And it's so funny, you think about it, 1914, right?
Yes.
Electricity was a technological innovation at the time, and to be that thoughtful of, okay, we're gonna build this like we would today.
Yes.
And be that far ahead of the time is amazing.
Absolutely. This is the music room. This is one of my favorite rooms. Of course, gorgeous view. At that time when Henry Pittock built it, the trees were not that tall, so you could get like a beautiful view. And the family spent most of the time, in this room, as we are told. A lot of architectural features, French salon style. You pick which angle you want to talk about.
I love this ceiling. What is that, aluminum leaf?
Yes, they used an aluminum leaf process, and it has actually been touched up twice. But it has that, as you were saying, it has that reflective, element, which definitely creates more of an ambience of space.
Can't imagine putting those little squares up on the entire thing.
Yes.
And the other thing I love is that oak floor over there with the radius around the outside of the room. Extreme craftsmanship.
Extreme craftsmanship, a lot of labor, but it just brings it together and makes this room so uniquely beautiful. This is another space that's very popular with our visitors. Again, gives an ambience of, we are in a home.
Yeah.
One of the things I would like to highlight is the floor. The floor had been redone in the 1930s, but they restored it back to how it would have looked in the 1914s.
But I gotta say, this range is amazing.
It is.
It is so cool. You think about how technologically advanced this was at the time.
Yes.
I mean, you got 4 different ways to cook things here.
Absolutely.
That's like a luxury kitchen today.
Yes.
Let's go take a look at that refrigeration room.
Sure. So we are now in the refrigerator room, like an entire room that, served as a large refrigerator. Our special insulation, there were like special water pipes that kept the temperature. And then the last feature is a 1920s actual Westinghouse, refrigerator.
I love how this is just so technologically smart for its day, because back then everybody just had ice and ice boxes.
Yes. But it was very common in the commercial buildings, but to have a feature like this in a residential home was definitely ahead of its time. So let's take a look at the exterior, because that's where, we can talk a little bit about, the preservation needs of a 110-year-old mansion that we all so love.
Such a beautiful place.
Thank you for coming. And of course, it's beautiful, but it's a lot to maintain. It's 110 years old this year.
I mean, just like any home in the Pacific Northwest, there's maintenance and then there's restoration. And a building of this stature and, of its construction needs both.
So with old homes like these old houses, if you don't tend to the needs, they just keep deteriorating, and we just cannot allow that kind of a thing.
Thank you so much for having me out. Such a beautiful place.
Thank you so much for coming, and hope you come back again.
Absolutely. This is such a masterpiece. All right, guys, my question to you is, when was the last time you visited the Pittock Mansion?